Congratulations, Sue, on your election, and very best wishes for an enjoyable and successful term as President of the ITOA. First of all, tell us a little bit about your own business, Touch of Ireland Limited.
Well, thank you, Eamon, first of all. A Touch of Ireland is 25 years old this year, so
wow.
Since 1989. And we are a medium-sized company, I guess. We deal with, it's an interesting divide in that 50% of the company is leisure and 50% is the sort of corporate meetings and incentives, so it really is a 50-50 on both sides.
Yeah.
And I have a staff of 10, and our markets are principally Europe and the USA.
Interesting. So 2013 results have been done to death by everybody at this stage. We keep reading about them, they were so good, but your sector operates almost exclusively, if not entirely exclusively, in what we call the promotable sector of overseas business, the pure tourists, some people call them as well. So how did 2013 turn out for your members?
Well, we do, you probably, I'm absolutely sure you know that the ITOA do a very comprehensive annual report into the previous year, which is long and quite painful for the people who have to do it, but it's very, very interesting in the results it produces very quickly, because we do it in the January for the previous year, so very, very quickly we know what's happened. And in line with CSO results, actually, or the preliminary feelings, we have some really good results for last year in that the total turnover of ITO members was up by 7.5%. We handled 466,000 promotable visitors to the island, which is an increase, and a substantial increase. We, as an organisation, spent about $7.5 million on sales and marketing of Ireland overseas, which again is not an insubstantial amount. And as an association, we account for 8% of the leisure tourism visitors in that sector to Ireland. The FIT sectors were also up. The MICE in sort of sector last year was down. I think we actually made about 12% of the whole promotable visitor, but that we expected that, and it is really down to economies overseas, and we can see that beginning to come back, which is good news for 2014.
Absolutely. Like many organisations, of course, the ITOA have made a strong submission to the Minister on his tourism policy review, which is presently underway. What are the principal issues that the ITOA would like to see addressed in the new tourism policy?
I think the first thing that we're most concerned about is competitiveness. We have finally sort of reached the level of competitiveness that we should be at in the rest of the world, and we just don't want it to be a fleeting moment and to be off on that cycle again. So we urge the Minister and all government departments to look at the whole greater package, in other words, all the things that affect industry. We're also really concerned about the EU directive regarding VAT and applying the 23%, the VAT margin, the tour operator margin scheme to Ireland, which at the moment, if it's business to business, we apply normal rules, because that will have a huge impact. That will really drive up prices. And it's just something that it's silly in that it's interim, because they're going to review it anyway.
Sure.
So why not hold off, do the review and do it properly, rather than taking the easiest?
Well, that would seem to make a lot of sense.
Sorry, I'll go on there, because there are other things. I mean, the other things that we want is product development. We have huge concerns about the long-term product, particularly in Dublin. I mean, obviously all around the country. But
what type of product specifically?
Well, at the moment, personally, I'm seeing up there, and it's extremely frustrating, is inquiries coming in that we can't deal with because we can't place the business in Dublin.
This is lack of hotel space?
Lack of hotel space, meaningful hotel space. Is it lack of hotel space in Dublin 1, 2 and 4, or just Dublin generally? Is it that everybody wants to be in the centre of the city? It is, well it is, I suppose it's Dublin, which is 1, 2 and 4 really. Yeah. I hate to say it, I mean, that's where the tourist wants to be, or where the corporate client wants to be, because that's where the CCD is, it's where the thing is happening. And the problem is that has the knock-on effect into the country, and that if you can't get them here, you're not going to get them anywhere. There's also an issue in Galway perhaps, and in Killarney. So, but that needs to be looked at, and needs to, if you, I mean, there's been great work done by the Dublin Dublin Task Force and things, and predicted increases are huge, which we can achieve. I genuinely believe we can achieve them.
But it will require additional
Where
capacity.
are we going to put them to sleep?
Of course, part of me says, Sue, which probably shouldn't, but part of me says, well, it's just a better type of problem to have than the one we've been
It is, but
struggling
it's
with the
no.
last
I
5 or
accept
6
that.
years. But it does need to be addressed.
I accept that, but we should be planning for it.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
You know, that I think that's what we feel.
It's only February, and I know that some of your members are already out there negotiating rates for 2015 and beyond that even. But before we get there, how are your members feeling about the current year?
I think cautiously optimistic. It's early days. I mean, but I do think that certainly we'll achieve 2013 status.
Yes.
I would hope a little bit more. Certainly from our perspective, we can see a growth in the mice side. So maybe everything else remains static,
Sure.
and maybe mice bounces back a little bit.
And any particular markets looking strong at this stage?
Well, everybody is saying that the American market is holding its own. Other markets, I think just generally there's a bit more buoyancy out there.
That's good. And in 2 years' time, gosh, you're only starting out, it's an awful thing to be asking you a question like this, Sue, but in 2 years' time, when you finish up your term as president of the ITOA, what would you like to think might be part of your legacy?
Okay, that's a difficult one, really. ITOA is a great association, so first of all, I want to maintain it and not destroy it in any way.
Well,
From a member's perspective, I'd like to have been thought of as being fair, and of listening to all the diverse views within the association. From a global perspective, I would like to see the association part of the 10-year plan. I really do feel that tourism, we've spent our lives going from year to year surviving.
Sure.
We need to get over that. We need to have a big long-term plan. We need to have a greater vision, not be so concerned about our own little businesses, our own hotels, our own everything. Just look at the greater scheme and really promote Ireland.
Well, that's certainly a noble aspiration and a necessary one as well.
I don't know. Well, it's something that we can
Sure,
certainly
I
just
think we'll make
aim
progress
at.
on that with the Tourism Policy Review coming up.
Yeah.
So listen, the very best of luck, Sue, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much indeed, Em.